This is Kilo 9 Romeo Mike Romeo. Repeat, this is K9RMR, currently monitoring.
9RMR, W9BCT. Hey Randall, how's it going?
Oh, it's going pretty good. Got a little bit of rain, but it's nice and cool outside right now, so not too bad.
I feel your pain. For a second there, I thought it was going to start actually thundering and lightning pretty good, but it never ended up doing that.
Well, I'm up here by the Army base, and they're shooting off some kind of guns over here, so it's a lot of times it's hard to tell whether it's the guns or the thunder.
I can relate to that. I woke up at about 8:45 this morning to them doing that, and I'm like, is that thunder? And then I realized it was just Atterbury, and I'm like, oh, that's disappointing. Because the storm spotter in me wants to be like, weather.
Well, it seems to me it doesn't. Normally, when it rains, it only rains for 5 or 10 minutes, then it quits. So that's about what it did today. It was about 5 minutes of good rain, and then it quit. So nothing exciting.
Hi. That I almost feel a little bad every time I'm like, oh, it sucks that we didn't get really bad storms today.
Well, I think it's just enough so I don't have to water the plants or the tomatoes. So overall, I'm not complaining.
Okay, so there will be no complaints from me.
Well, today's been a real slow day for me. I got my work done this morning, and then most of the afternoon it's just been kind of taking it easy.
I had to go into Dad's shop at about 10:45 this morning to do some computer stuff for him. Had a job interview at 1, got a new job, and have just been kind of sitting at home doing schoolwork here and there since after that job interview. So it's been a little bit of a lazy day around here.
Well, congratulations on getting a new job. That's a good news.
Laid off from 2 different ones due to COVID-19 in the last 5 months.
Well, you're not the only one. I know more than a few people that are either lost their job or not working or because of all this virus stuff. So, I mean, that may not make you feel any better, but at least you know you're not the only one.
Yeah, I wouldn't be as distraught had it not been 2 different jobs that it happened to.
Well, I'm kind of curious to hear. You know, today the whole state mandate for wearing masks in public and all public places was supposed to start. So I'm kind of curious to hear. You know, maybe I'll check the news later and see, or the Twitter feed, and find out how things went. See how, if a lot of people are wearing them or what the deal is.
W9BCT for ID. I would hope they are, but me and Dad were having that conversation last night. It's not really enforceable because they put a clause in there that, like, if you have a medical condition that prevents you from wearing a mask, you can opt out of wearing a mask. But then the ADA says that you can't, if you're a business owner, you can't specifically walk up to one of your patrons and be like, what disability do you have? Because that's against Americans with Disabilities Act. So it's kind of a whole unenforceable thing.
Well, I'm just, like I said, I'm just waiting for the school to start up and see how that things go then. I think this is just me, but I think once the new school year starts, it won't take long for things to change. Because I just think as soon as everybody goes back to school, it's going to be a mess.
So I had started online school last year, technically my sophomore year since I'm skipping junior year. I had started online school before COVID hit last year. So I'm just kind of sitting over in my own corner like, y'all have fun going back to school. I'm just going to continue to do my online school and not be fazed a bit by this.
Well, we've got one of the guys at my church is a professor at IUPUI, and he said they're getting ready to start classes up, and they're gonna um, it's gonna be the in-person classes, and he said um, I talked to him, and was talking about how they're not going to require. Well, this has been about 2 weeks since I talked to him, so it may have changed since then. But he said at the time they weren't going to require masks. So I don't know. That may, like I said, that may have changed since then. So I don't know.
For a lot of the professors being older and more susceptible to that kind of stuff, I wouldn't really blame them for trying to mandate masks. The students may not be at risk for it as much as the professors would. So I could definitely see why they would do something like that.
Well, my thing is, I'm just curious how they're. I mean, not so much the college age kids. I'm just curious how they're going to deal with that with the with the kindergartners and the first and second and third grader, kids of that age. I mean, that to me seems like that would be an ordeal in itself, trying to get the little kids to wear masks all the time.
Yeah, I would hate to be an elementary school teacher right now, having to be like, remember kids, keep your masks on, and then you have a bunch of first graders that are like, no, screw you, you don't have authority over us, and then taking off their masks and having to be like, no, put your masks back on. That would be a whole mess.
Yeah, and the first time they have to go to the bathroom or go get a drink of water and take them off or lose it or I agree with you. I wouldn't want to be a school teacher, especially like I say, especially for young kids.
I'm really interested to see how this actually turns out and see if we'll get a half okay school year or if they'll cancel it halfway through, because that wouldn't surprise me at all of this.
Well, I think the first week or two is going to be kind of a determining factor. At least, I mean, I don't know for sure, obviously, but and that's the problem. I don't think anybody really knows what's going to happen, but obviously, but I think the first week or two is going to be is going to decide a lot of policy. I mean, I know my mom's got friends that, like I said, she's known a couple of people that have actually died from it here locally. I mean, of course, they were all old people, and she's got friends that won't even, with the exception of going to the grocery store like once or twice a month, won't even leave the house. I mean, they haven't. She's got friends that won't, they won't go to church, they won't go to any business thing. I mean, of course, they're retired, but they don't go to church, they don't go to any business. I mean, I think going to the grocery store once or twice a month is about all they leave the house, and they're like really afraid of leaving, and of course, anytime they go to the grocery store, they're wearing a mask and they're putting on gloves, and when they come home, they're sanitizing, and I mean, doing the whole thing. So, of course, like I said, they're up in years, so I mean that makes sense. I mean, I don't take it I mean, I take it seriously enough to wear a mask when I go, like the stores and stuff. So I mean, I do that because I think that's important. But it's messed up. It's like I said, it's going to be a year for the record.
I get a little bit of a laugh out of them every time I see it, because as soon as you touch one thing in the store that's had contact with someone that's had a disease on them with your gloves on, and then you go to touch something else in the store, it automatically negates the purpose of wearing the gloves, because you've transferred you've transferred whatever was on that first product onto a second one now, and probably aren't even worried about it.
Well, I will say we normally go up to the food store in JC's in Edinburgh, and I will say, I mean, for the most part, well, all the employees there wear masks. As far as that goes, and when you first come in, whoever's bringing in the carts, they have somebody goes out and brings in the carts from outside. You always see them spraying them down and wiping them off and stuff. So, I mean, I think at least from my experience from shopping up there, I mean, they're trying to do the best they can, and I think most of the places I go shopping now, they have some kind of like clear plastic plexiglass between you and the cashier. I mean, between the grocery store and the mailbox. Well, of course, here in Taylorsville to get our mail, we have to go into a post office, and they've got plexiglass between the postmaster and when you go to buy stamps or stuff like that. So um, I think a lot of places are taking it seriously, which is good. So I mean, it's just you gotta do what you gotta do.
Hope is that this can kind of die down here soon, because I really don't want to have to wear a mask for the rest of my life going out in public and being like, hey guys, I'm just going to wear this because there's still a pandemic going on for the next freaking half a year like there already is. That would not be a fun time for, I think, anyone right now.
Well, from what I've seen, now, granted, I don't keep up with all the latest, but it seems like the big places that it's happening are California and Florida. Where they live by the ocean, and everybody's going to the beaches and stuff like that. We've got some relatives that invited us up. They live up in Indianapolis, and they invited me, my mom, and my brother, and of course a whole bunch of family. They just bought a new house. They sold their old one, bought a real nice. I mean, brand. It was a big improvement, for a big step up in their house, and so they were real excited about getting in there. Going to have a move-in party. And Bob's like, they've got some friends out in California that are flying in, and Mom was like, I don't think I'm going to go. I said, I don't know if you want to go, but I don't think I'm going to go, because she was afraid the fact that they're from California and that's one of the hot spots for all this is. So she's afraid of going just up to Indianapolis to visit with relatives, because they've got people coming from California, and I can kind of see your point, because you never know. One, they're from California, and that's, like I said, that's one of the hot spots. Plus the fact they're going to be flying on an airplane with you only know who on that airplane is going to have it. So she's like, I don't think we're going to go, or at least I'm not going. And she's like, so I don't think I'm going to go either. So I mean, that's unfortunate, but that's just that's the way things are right now. K9RMR for station ID.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Like, if I'm gonna go out, and I'm gonna be with anybody like that isn't direct family or that I haven't hung out with since this whole thing has started. Like, I'm still gonna hang out around my girlfriend without a mask on. But if I'm around anybody that I haven't been around already throughout the whole pandemic, I'm gonna put a mask on or just stay at home, because it makes me feel safer, at least.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I mean, you never know. You might have it and not get sick and pass it on to somebody else. So I mean, like I said, I haven't been going near as many places that obviously before all this started. So I mean, the places I've been going has been cut down drastically, and I know that's true for several other people, to say the least. So I mean, the only like I go to church on Sunday, and like I'll wear them when I go to the church. I wear it, and then during the church service, they've done things, they've changed things around, and they've put the seats where everybody's social distancing, so everybody's at least approximately 6 foot apart or more. But so that they've rearranged it so that's happening. So I don't normally wear it during church, but like going to church. And like when I first come in, I'll wear it, and then I'll take it off when I'm socially distanced. And then when I get ready to leave, I'll put it on and go. But I don't wear it during church. And like I said, anytime I go to a grocery store or the mailbox, I usually wear it. So like I said, it's just one of those things. You gotta do what you gotta do.
COVID thing is the people that are just going on a conspiracy theory rant about how the masks are just a government ploy to try and control people. I always think those are the best part.
Yeah, we got one guy at church. He's a good guy, but I'll tell you, I was talking to him about 2 or 3 weeks ago, and he's like, "Well, all this is going to change after everybody votes." And I'm like, I don't know about that, But he seems to think it's all political. I don't go that far with it because I mean, like I said, I know mother's known a couple of people who actually died from it, but like they were everybody that died from it was older. But I mean, she does know some people that have died from it. So, but they were all like in nursing homes and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's definitely real. It's not like some, I don't think it's some conspiracy theory, obviously, because it wouldn't be what it is if it was. But it just, and I don't think it has anything to do with the election. There's a lot of people that'll tell you it has to do with the election, but I don't know. It just whoever gets elected this next time, I think it's still going to be going on. It's just a question of how they're going to deal with it. That's the main thing. How the different politicians want to deal with it, and whether they want to wear masks or not wear masks or open business, and I don't know. I mean, there's some things that just aren't political or shouldn't be.
With you, that there are certain things that just don't need politics in them. This is probably one of them. Um, but I am a fairly large believer in that this is probably at least a little bit overhyped, and that not everyone dying of COVID is dying of COVID. Uh, I've I've seen statistics of how much hospitals make in grant money when they say that someone died of COVID, and it's substantially more than they would get had they just died from anything else. So I think that might have at least a little bit to do with it. At least a few cases. I wouldn't say the entire thing is that overblown, but I'd say at least a few of the numbers are a little bit off.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me a bit. I mean, not at all. I saw a thing on. It was kind of funny. This guy was like, I saw a thing on the internet. I think it was yesterday, maybe yesterday or the day before, and some guy was like, "Well, I'm switching political parties because the Republicans are the ones that are going to say people don't have to wear masks because they want more businesses and blah blah blah." And he's like, "Oh, I used to be a Democrat, and now I'm going to be a Republican because my business will make more money." I'm like, "That's crazy." I said, I mean, I don't understand it doesn't make sense to me. This is something that, what I'm saying, it shouldn't be about Republican or Democrat or who's getting elected. And as far as the hospital goes, I wouldn't be surprised if there's, I mean, you'd like to think that the hospitals are being honest and stuff, but you never know.
Thank you.
K9RMR, I had somebody break in. Go ahead.
Went down to listen to you guys there. I went down to Seymour Hospital 2 weeks ago to have my foot looked at again by the surgeon that worked on me. And at the time, there were 0 people in Seymour being treated for COVID. There had not been anybody in the hospital being treated for COVID for over 2 weeks. She told me that. She also said that the week prior there was 3 people that came in that said they had symptoms, but they had been tested, and she did not hear what the results of the test was, but she knew they were not in the hospital. So I guess the interesting fact is, where is the actual real numbers at, is what's interesting to me.
Yeah, I'd be curious to find out who's supplying all the numbers and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure there's people, I'm sure there's got records of it, but I don't know. What's actually happening and what's being reported, maybe, I would imagine, may not be the exact same thing.
Is the only one that's true. I see COVID the same way. Take away the money and see how much COVID issue we have, or take away the money and see how many preachers we actually have. It'd just be interesting.
Well, I would never compare the preachers to the COVID, but I will say I do think. I mean, I would think they're probably, when they report COVID cases, they probably are getting some more money. I mean, I don't know how it all works. I know we've got a guy at our church that's works for the hospital, and I mean, when I talk to him, he's like, he can't reveal details and stuff, but he's like, he's seen the cases where it gets real bad, and he said it really is bad. So I have no doubt there's some people that are really getting sick and dying from this thing, but it's just what's actually happening and what's being portrayed in the media. I'm sure is not always matching up.
Two quick stories. We had a guy come down from Indianapolis that does machine work for us at work. He told the story where he was recovering from COVID-19. Of course, we all looked at him like, are you serious? His wife evidently got it first. She called their doctor on the phone. He said, you do have COVID-19, stay at home. Don't go to the hospital unless you feel like you're really going to die. A week and a half later, he started getting symptoms. He called a different doctor, and the doctor there of his pretty much said the same thing. So neither one of them were ever tested, but I guarantee they were added to the number somewhere. And then the salesman came in this week, said his mom had passed away from COVID-19. I listened to the whole story. To make a long story short, they never heard a thing about his mother that had a failing heart, diabetes, high blood pressure, and her husband, which is his dad, was in a old folks home at the same place. And they never knew anything about COVID-19 until they got the death certificate. And for further there, his dad had told him that she hadn't been coughing, no fever, no nothing the night before. Everything was fine. And but on the death certificate it says complications from COVID-19, and he said their family's pretty upset about that. KV9Q.
Well, I've been in the hospital before, and when I was sick, and when I find it interesting. They'll give you medicine and they'll tell you different things. But like for example, one time I was sick with one thing, and when I left, when you leave, they give you all the paperwork and all this stuff you got to sign and release and get out of there. And it's amazing. When you're there and you're sick and you're dealing with certain things that the doctors and the nurses will tell you, hey, you've got this. It's certain things. Then when you go to leave the hospital, the final paperwork, what they put on there, isn't always, it isn't always the same. And you're like, what, you mean I actually have this or this? When they tell you you've got this and this, which you may have, you may have 1 and 2, but when you go to leave, you have 3 and 4 as well. So I find it interesting a lot of times when, like I say, when you're sick and stuff, and you go to leave the hospital, what the final report is. They don't always give you all the information at the time. Sometimes you just have to wait and get that final paperwork before you find out what's really going on. K9RMR for Station ID. Well, now that we've solved all the world's medical problems, anything else interesting going on?
I turned the radio down on the last, trying to talk to my boss. He called me. KV9Q.
Oh, I was just saying. I said now that we've solved all the world's medical medical problems, anything else interesting going on?
Not really. How much rain did you get up there a while ago?
Well, I'm in Taylorsville, and it probably rained 5 minutes maybe. We had some wind. We had some good wind for about 10 or 15 minutes, but the actual rain was about 5.
About 3/10 down here, so.
Well, I don't have a rain gauge or anything like that, but like I said, it was at the most 5 minutes. So it seems that it does that a lot. It'll just come and go, couple minutes. So that's what happened today. Just like I said, we had a good wind, good breeze for about 10, 15 minutes, but the actual rain was about 5. Like I was saying earlier, we got Camp Atterbury up here shooting off some kind of guns that half the time you don't know if it's thunder or them shooting off the guns.
Noticed the wind picking up pretty good. Looked at the radar. That thing died out pretty good coming across from Bloomington, which I'm glad. We don't need any big high winds and storms. The corn crop's up and looking way too good to get some big heavy wind right now.
Well, some of the farmers around here have already got their corn. I don't know what they call it, combine it, whatever they do. I don't know, but some of them have already got their corn already collected. Some of them haven't, but some of them have. Yeah, we got a field at the end of our street, on both ends of the street actually, and the one I'm looking at right now, yeah, they've already collected the corn. They've got it plowed, and some other stuff is growing. I think it's some kind of weed or something. I don't know. I'm not sure, but it's small and it's green. That's all I know. I'm not big on farming, but yeah, they've already done the corn on at least one field here in Taylorsville.
Right on. They might have had winter wheat in there, and they combined that and probably come back with beans would be my guess. But I could be wrong. I've never known anybody to combine corn this early in the year. That'd be kind of a first, really.
Well, about 2 or 3 weeks ago, we got a lot of rain, so I mean it was really growing for a while. So, like I said, I don't really keep up with it, but they've been, of course, down here at least the one field, they water it. I mean, we got farmers got a real nice irrigation system, and like I said, between the irrigation and the fact it's been raining a lot, it's been growing pretty good. So, like I said, like I said, I don't really keep a track of what's what, and I'm not really up on the different things they're growing, but the field is green and it's several inches off the ground, whatever it is.
Cold there. I didn't catch it. Did he take off somewhere?
No, I just said I'm not sure exactly what it is in the field, but it's several inches. So it seems whatever it is, it's growing pretty good. So I think around here, like I said, we've been getting plenty of rain overall for the last couple months, so it seems like they're doing pretty good.
Where did Sam take off to? Do you have to go do something or what there?
I don't know. Sam, you still there? K9RMR for station ID. I don't know if he took off or what. I'm not sure.
Ask him how he likes that truck he got. So I'll ask him next time I hear him though. KV9.
Well, there's not a whole lot going on here. I just came out here and figured I'd see if anybody's out. I can't even talk. See if anybody's on the radio. So, like I said, not a whole lot going on. Nothing exciting.
No, this 2-meter, it's usually pretty dead. We get talking some on the 440 over there, but the 2-meter, I don't hear much on it. But DMR is cranking. It was been cranking all week, and I was listening to the South Texas crossover there on Fusion, and they were doing Skywarn emergency services down there using their digital radios. That's pretty interesting after the hurricane there.
Well, I've got D-Star on this radio, but the nearest thing is in Seymour, and my radio doesn't reach all that far. I mean, I've only got 5 watts, and it's handheld, so I can receive the D-Star and listen. And there's usually traffic, not always, but there's usually on the Seymour reflector there's traffic. But like I said, with my little radio, I can't. I can receive it, but I can't reach it by transmission.
Just get you a hotspot. That's all you need to do.
Well, I took the radio up to. We had our relatives. Gosh, it's been. Oh gosh, up in Indianapolis. That's probably been since probably. I think it was Thanksgiving last year. I took it up there, and got on the. They've got 4 of them. I think 4 of them, if I remember right. Up in Indianapolis, and I was talking to people. It was pretty nice. I was talking to people all over the country. I talked to some guys in Hawaii, Texas, Florida, Ohio. I mean, I talked to a whole bunch of people, and all over. Like I said, all different parts of the country. When I went up, took this little radio up to Indianapolis, and was able to get on the D-Star stuff up there. So it's pretty nice. I mean, I just need to either get a bigger antenna, or get a better radio. But it's like everything else; it's only money.
Yeah, all you need is a hotspot. You don't need a bigger antenna or anything for your D-Star. All you need is a hotspot.
Well, I've been thinking about buying one of those. I'm just money's a little tight right now. The one I was looking at was about it was a little over $200. So I may invest in it here not too long, but like I said, right now money's a little tight. So I got other things that are more pressing, unfortunately.
How that goes, I can build you a simplex hotspot for about $72 right now.
Well, I appreciate the offer, but I think, like I said, I think I'm going to save it. I'm the one I was looking at. It's pretty nice, and it's kind of got the features I think I want. I mean, as far as hooking it up and all that stuff. So it's just like I said, I'm gonna have to save up some money and do it because there is a lot of stuff going on in the D-Star. So it's it's something I'm definitely. It's just a matter of time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't. I just have DMR. Of course, I can cross mode over to D-Star. They can cross mode over to me. So I just have the DMR. I don't have a Fusion setup or a D-Star.
Well, I got the radio I'm using now is a THD74A, and it's like I said, it's got the D-Star built in. It's pretty nice. Like I said, when I went up to Indianapolis, it's real easy to use. Well, I mean, once you get your stuff set up, it's real easy.
Signal because there's no static or nothing. It's usually either working or it's not working.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with digital. It'll go farther, and you can it's pretty nice. But I mean, you can see the when I was reading about D-Star and all that stuff, it shows you the graphs were like with analog, it just kind of slopes down, whereas D-Star is just like you're there, and then at one point, and then if you get to a certain distance or something, it just kind of drops off, and so I mean, there's benefits to both, obviously, but it's interesting to listen to some of these people talk on D-Star, though. It's definitely interesting.
Listen to what's going on all over the world. So, all right, well, I'm gonna jump out of here. I think we're gonna get ready to maybe get something to eat, and might be back in a little while.
Okay, well, I've already had my dinner, so with that in mind, I will say enjoy. Hope you have a good dinner. This is K9RMR saying good day, God bless, 73, and I'll be clear on your final.
All right, no problem. We'll try to be back on here. Well, I know we'll be back on here in a little while, probably a couple hours or so, and get some other stuff done before dark. So, talk to you later there. 73 K9Q.
Kilo 9 Romeo Mike Romeo. Repeat K9RMR 73 clear.